3 sessions this morning. For those who attended the official reception last night, we hope you enjoyed the Palace of the Parliament. It was a truly memorable evening, and thanks again to our phenomenal Romanian hosts. For me personally, it was a full circle moment. My first visit to the Palace was over 20 years ago while serving with the United States Army in Europe after concluding training exercises at a much smaller Mihail Kogonicianu, or as we called it, MK Air Base, on the Black Sea with our then very new NATO ally. Bucharest has grown and changed, just as MK Air Base has evolved to one of the largest, strongest NATO bases across the alliance. Romania has been a steadfast ally since 2004. With that, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce our first keynote speaker to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of Romania, Mr. Nicușor Dan.
Secretary General, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to be today at NATO Industry Forum, an edition hosted by Romania and organized by the Allied Commandant for Transformation and Division for Industry of Defense Innovation and within the International Secretariat of NATO. First of all, I would like to wish welcome to Romania, to Bucharest, to all our guests this time and in any other occasion. The topic of the current edition, Rearming NATO, Innovate, Accelerate, Sustain, it's especially relevant considering the context of the latest period, which unfortunately obliges us to talk more and more about rearming. All the threats and challenges we are confronted in present, from the war in Ukraine up to the cyber threats and the hybrid war, all these remind us that peace and security are never guaranteed. That's why rearming is not a choice, it's just a need, a necessity. And it is not NATO's or Romania's choice, the choice of the other states of NATO, but a necessity. The role of the alliance is to protect the peace, and our responsibility is to deter any potential aggression and to be sure that our armed forces are capable and well trained to counteract the threats we are confronted with. There is a continuation of the illegal war of Russia against Ukraine at the borders of Romania. And for that, and for us, for the other allies in the eastern flank, and for NATO in general, the aggressiveness of Russia beyond Ukraine by recent intrusions of the Allied airspace and by diversifying the hybrid attacks is an additional evidence that we need to be prepared. We need to remain united and to have a position of force in a solid and credible posture. The commitment of the alliance and we trust that the NATO and also the others, the allies from the other banks of the Atlantic are committed to defend any inch of the alliance. We, the European alliance, need to assume responsibilities in defending the continent. That's why we need to consolidate the defense ministry, the national one and the transatlantic one. And connected to that, for our guests, so I have the invitation to inform you about the Romanian defense industry, which has a very strong tradition. It has been neglected lately during the last years, but there is an extraordinary potential and we have companies having all the conditions or the utilities, so that in conditions of interesting management, they can be used for increasing the defense industry in Europe. In NATO summit in Hague, we made the decision to increase significant investments in defense in order to reach 5% out of the GDP up to 2035. Romania has 2.24 in 2025 and will spend this money and will maintain the ascending trend, which is directly correlated with the security threats. But this decision represents only the first step in order to reach our goal. We need to have money, and we need also to spend this money in order to produce military equipment. And also a key element for providing a credible deterrence and efficient defense is to work jointly to manufacture the equipment needed by the Allied armed forces, to collaborate between states, between governments and private media for the defense industry that favors innovation and capitalize on the emerging technologies, and to have together with our partners the interoperability of the systems that we are using. Another goal is to develop the military mobility on north-south axle, the eastern flank, as part of a coherent and integrated approach from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea, so necessary in the current context of security, to consolidate the capabilities with double use, railways, ports at the Black Sea and Danube, and also other elements of critical infrastructure. This is the context in which events like NATO Industry Forum get increased relevance due to the role of bringing together all the stakeholders involved in this process, NATO, the allied states and the industry, and to facilitate direct dialogue between the alliance and the industrial sector. Only working together will identify the best solutions for our common challenges. Before concluding, I would like to highlight an important aspect that we discussed about with Secretary General Mark Rutte yesterday. I thank him for his presence. Romania is prepared to assume strong role on the eastern flank. I thank you for your presence. Once again, welcome to Romania, and I wish you a fruitful summit.